and welcome everyone to the Proving Grounds powered by Verizon. My name is XT and I am joined here with Cubby to bring you some super exciting matches here today to cap out week number 2 of this tournament. But first of all, even before we get started, Cubby, how you doing, man? It's been a while.
I'm doing fantastic, XT. It's so fun to actually be able to work with you in front of the camera this time around. This is the first time for us. Usually you're behind the camera smurfing things, but hey, today we got a new duo, day 8 of Proving Grounds, and man, has this week delivered some great games, a few surprises. We're going to have to see how these 4 teams wrap up the week today, as we have 2 pretty closely contested best-of-3s ahead of us.
Yeah, definitely. All these matches are going to serve to excite everyone here today that's watching. Also, us on the mics, man. You know, we are currently on patch 11.6 here. And speaking of which, we got some matches that we also need to highlight from yesterday, as Dignitas had a 3-game series against EGP with the Prodigies taking the series at the very end.
Yeah, in this series, I mean, it was so close for being a 2-0 for Dignitas. They had this double assassin comp in Game 2, and they just botched 2 team fights, just very small mistakes, and some great punishes coming out specifically from the 17-year-old all-star 80 carry of EGP, Shiro. Surdy also on his Camille champion that he's known for. Showed why he's known for it here. As you're going to see a sweet cancel, or there was a sweet cancel earlier to stop JJ's engage for that, but yeah, EGP ended up coming out with the 2-1, and this young team, the 3rd roster of EG, continues to impress in this tournament.
Yeah, and speaking of which, we also had another matchup that happened yesterday as well. TSM and Dignitas Mirage both faced each other off, but unfortunately for Dignitas Mirage, they were knocked out of the tournament after TSM had a solid 2 over these young guys.
Yeah, and the experience of TSM really shone through in this series, right, with Cody's son. When the games go late and Cody's son's able to maneuver through these team fights on the Kaisa, he's always been able to deliver throughout his career in these late game team fights. And also, I think the big highlight, your son, right, that this young support player, the import, really looked good on the rel, had some massive engages throughout the series that they were able to find that really helped propel TSM to that 2-0 victory.
Yep, your son did an amazing job on just setting up TSM for a lot of success there, and nonetheless, they're going to be moving on to the bracket to take on, you know, whoever will lose between No Org and Barrage. As we look at the bracket here, we have a lot of stakes on the line. You know, we just saw 3 amazing series in the upper bracket. Today, 2 Kings of Amateur will be facing up against each other, No Org and Barrage. And whoever wins this one has to take on EGP in the semifinals. And not to mention, because of yesterday's result, we are now guaranteed in winners finals an Academy versus Amateur matchup.
It's something that is going to be so exciting. And if you guys haven't been tuning into Amateur throughout the season, you are in for a treat with this first best-of-3 today. We also have a second best-of-3 taking place, so we have to finish up the first round of the losers bracket as well. That matchup's actually going to be Immortals versus Wildcard. 2 teams that came out of, I'd say, 2 of the closest best-of-3s that we had in that first week, XT. I mean, the series could have easily went either way. Unfortunately for Wildcard, they dropped to Dignitas, and Immortals dropped to EGP week 1. So they find themselves in the loser bracket and will be playing for their tournament lives in the second series today.
Yep, and their path isn't getting any easier. Waiting for them on the other side of the bracket will be 100 Thieves Academy, who will take on the winner of that matchup here today, which will be the second game that we're going to be covering. But the first game, I think, is the one that is on everyone's minds. The first matchup of this tournament where we feature 2 amateur teams instead of either Academy versus Academy or Amateur versus Academy. No Org taking on Barrage Esports. And man, oh man, I think these 2 teams have a long history together, Cubby, and you know, I think you got something on your mind.
You know, I've been talking this entire season about No Org's Blue Side Kingdom. Every king needs a kingdom, right? If you're Five Fire, right. If you aren't familiar with Five Fire, he has won the last 2 splits of Amateur on a new Esports. Now finds himself on the top Amateur team in No Org. More of a role player this year, but still No Org. Every king needs a kingdom, and their kingdom is Blue Side. In the 70 games that they've played so far throughout Proving Grounds, 51 of them have been on Blue Side, and they have a 76% win rate. A lot of this is due to the fact that Five Fire, one of the role players on this team for the All-Stars of Viper and Anda, he plays Twisted Fate in 15 games. He's played Twisted Fate. 14 of them have been on Blue Side, and he's 14-1 on the champion this year. His Zoe is the second most played. That's also been primarily played on Blue Side with a disgusting win rate as well. And then you have Value, who plays weak side bottom. His Senna, Seraphine, both undefeated. Blue side, way too strong for No Org, as they're also on a 10-game win streak on the side as well. But the thing that makes this matchup really interesting, now, not only do these teams match up pretty well, but Barrage, in the 2 best-of-5s that they've played against No Org, no other amateur organization has taken No Org to all 5 games except Barrage. They did it twice. In 9 out of those 10 games, No Org was on blue side. And Barrage's record against No Org, when they're on red side versus No Org's blue side, they're actually 4-5. So they've been able to kind of hold No Org back from having that blue side kingdom, you know, where they're able to get Ando, the Udyr, or the Nidalee. They're able to get a Senaton Kench. They're able to get a roaming mid to really help out Viper. And I think that makes this matchup really interesting because PCL is usually able to hold his own at the top side because we know that the All-Stars in No Org, Viper, and Ando are going to set up for a killing top side setup in the early game, and then Barrage can team fight the way back as the game goes on, which is their real strength. And so I think we really have to look out for No Org's early game, and if they're going to draft for early game, they're able to execute it, and then how Barrage can get back into team fights, because that's primarily been the way that we've seen this matchup go in the 10 games that we've seen throughout the amateur season.
Well, speaking of games, you know, we have an exciting series coming up for us, but it is the end of the week here for week number 2 of Proving Grounds, powered by Verizon. But before we even talk about anything further, let's check out the Fast 5 here. This week, we've had impressive numbers across the board. One of the things that really stand out to me, Jojo Pune with that 10-minute mythic item, really goes to show how dominant Evil Genius Academy were against their counterparts in 100 Thieves earlier this week.
Yeah, Jojo Pune on that Lucian got off to a blistering start in the one game against Demonte, and the 16-year-old mid laner for EG has been such a highlight, as EG also, like, as a whole in the tournament, they've been 4-0 between both their second and third teams in the org. Nothing but smiles around that organization's main location as they continue to be dominant. Some of the names that we have actually today, Joey in the second series. I think Joey's been the highlight of IMT throughout the series. I also think that Daption's been really strong for wildcards, so I'm curious to see that matchup. And also Team Nuke, we talked a lot about the funnel strategy for the wildcard AD carry and how he's the big strength of that team, but we're going to have to wait to see him in the second series, as we got to focus back up on this first series XT between the top dogs of Amateur, No Org, the Kings of Amateur. They've won the last 3 tournaments they've participated in. I know that talking with Five Fire early in the year, he viewed this as like Amateur with extra obstacles, right? The fact that he has to beat Academy teams now. But that said, he beat an Academy team week 1, has to beat a good Amateur team this week to keep on moving ahead in the winner's bracket and have a chance to take down either C9 or EG on the flip side, which is going to be a very exciting matchup if, you know, they can win this and then beat EGP and then get that winner's final between the Academy and the Amateur squad.
Yep, we're just in for an exciting tournament, and you know, these Fast 5 stats have just shown us that it's a lot closer than we all thought. You know, we thought, a lot of people had their doubts heading into this tournament on the amateur teams, or for sure. They were expecting, Academy to kind of smash through and through. But it really goes to show, in our region, in NA, we currently have a lot of people on the up and up, and we have a lot of results that really show for that. And today, could be a celebration of just that with No Org and Barrage. And speaking of that, we've been talking a lot about No Org, but let's also talk about Barrage. They basically had the upset of the tournament, being able to get that 2-0 over Team Liquid Academy, who, was touted to be one of the favorites heading into this tournament. They're completely out of this tournament as of Monday.
Yeah, I mean, I am one that was guilty of that. Coming off their win in Northern Arena, Team Liquid, they went 0-4 and had a fast out here in Proving Grounds, which was not, they did not show up the same way they did in Northern Arena, and part of that was Barrage getting the best of them. I think a lot of it was off the back of APA's play in the mid lane, and APA has been playing a lot of mages, which is something that's new for APA. When he came onto the scene, right, he was this Aurelian Soul, Talia, Kled, 3-trick in the mid lane that was just known for roaming and crushing sides. But as his play has evolved, his best champions this split have actually been his Orianna and his Victor. So it's been really good to see that evolution. As we are diving into the draft, already a few bans in. My XT, already Seraphine given over to No Org. I know that this is a flex pick for them, but I think it's important to note Value is undefeated on this champion, sitting at 5-0 throughout all of the amateur season. So that's already going to be secured for No Org, and they already have that set up for that weak side bot lane if they want it.
Yeah, we also got to remember Seraphine is still that flex pick she is, so she can still potentially go to support or maybe even mid. I believe Fire may have shown to play that before, but Udi are going to get taken away from Fnatic. Unfortunately, not the greatest showing on his champion. What Fnatic is really known for so far in the amateur scene has been playing that Hecarim and Skarner, but Udi, that's going to be a main takeaway from Ana, who's been looking quite strong, whatever jungle champ you've been able to give him, especially that Udyr.
Yeah, that has been his strongest champion throughout the entire split and also his most played. So that is a denial pick, but this does open up things for NoOrg to have an AP champion for Anda. Someone who really likes playing these AP champions, known for his Nidalee, his Taliyah, his Elise. Would not be surprised to see it here. That said, we could just match the tempo, go for a Dr. Mundo, and when you have the Seraphine behind you as well, this is already so much healing coming in for NoOrg in this draft early. I'm curious to see how they're going to be able to top it off. That said, it's just going to be a teaser pick. They're playing with our hearts. Tristana picked up for the side of NoOrg.
Yep, that's most likely going to be going on over to Fire in the mid lane, or it could even go to the bot lane to Value. We still don't really know for sure, but one thing for certain for NoOrg, they're going to be locking into that route. This champion has been super dominant all over the Proving Grounds circuit. I believe she made her debut in around patch 11.4. No surprise here, she's going to be showing up here in 11.6, and you have to really wonder, will we be seeing the Alistar here from Barrage? It is their main answer for them against this route. It's going to get locked in.
Yeah, this is the handshake. This is also Winter's most played throughout the entire amateur season, as well as Barrage. They already have set up. They have two very beefy frontliners, and Jinx. We talked about how important the team fight is for Barrage, how their big strength is finding those team fights in the mid game, whereas NoOrg's big strength is finding those early game setups and making sure that Viper is ahead. Notably for Barrage, too, already putting a focus on Viper in the picks and bans. The Gnar being taken away from Viper, and then the Lucian as well, as he's actually the one that has the most plays on it throughout his team. Viper's Gnar, throughout all of Amateur, 20 games played, his most played by 12 games, and has an 80% win rate. So a lot of respect being given over to the all-star top winner of NoOrg as Viper. In Amateur, I mean, I think that a lot of the community sentiment is why are LCS players playing in Amateur? But I know from talking with Viper, it's been a huge confidence boost for him, and he's been putting up dominant performances in the top lane. His average gold differential at 15, he's up on average 1.5k gold on his opponent, and that just kind of goes to show you how dominant NoOrg has been in the early game, but also how dominant Viper has been at his position.
Right, and we're going to have to really wonder to see if Anda is going to be able to get a champion he's comfortable. He loses to Mundo and the Olaf, but there is still something like the Skarner available to him if he wants to really pick that up. But I'm predicting right now, we currently don't know the top lane matchup, and that's something that PCL is probably going to have to play in the weak side. He's very well known for his Aatrox so far. I wouldn't be too surprised to save counter pick for PCL himself. And right now, maybe we see a mid laner locked in. Victor has been banned away. We could be seeing something that AP is comfortable on, like the Nico and whatnot, if he wants to. But no, it's going to be the Ziggs locked in. And this is kind of a pocket pick for AP in the mid lane, something that no other mid lane has really been playing too much.
This is an APA special. We talked about his flavor picks in solo queue and how he's gotten a lot better at the mage play. This is kind of the cross between the two, right? A little bit of flavor, but you still have that backline mage play. And Barrage, they have a very strong front-to-back setup already. And I'm curious to see if NoOrg, they were teasing that Dr. Mundo that got banned away. Anda has a lot of AP picks left that he can go for.
Lilia.
Is going to go for the Lilia. So if you're able to find those seeds onto the Jinx or the Ziggs, could be some good engages for NoOrg. And I think that this is going to end up putting that Tristana mid 4-5 fire, as you called out, right? Just making sure that you have that AP jungler with the AD mid and now AD top, as well as Renekton is locked in as the blind pick for Viper. And I would not be surprised to see an Aatrox response here from PCL. It is his most played. It's his most comfortable champ. He plays at weak side really well. I think they're playing around with their hearts. But I expect an Aatrox to come out here for the side of Barrage.
I also do expect an Aatrox as well. It is a comfortable matchup that PCL has played time and time and again with Barrage Esports, so we'll really have to see. No, it is going to be instead the Volibear, although did get changed a little bit to favor himself in the jungle in 11.6. He is also still quite a strong top laner, looking to kind of neutralize the matchup. I don't think it's neither top lane will have too big of an advantage, and I think, it's pretty clear on what both these teams are trying to do. We look at the side of Barrage. They're looking to front the back team fight. They're looking to knock it out of the park towards the mid game. While no Org, again, it's looking like a super strong top side for both Honda and Viper. I would be surprised if they apply a lot of pressure in that side of the map. And also Value and Big in the bot lane going to be rocking the Tristana Rel instead of switching it over as we expected, this Tristana to go into the mid lane.
Okay. Yeah, it's locked in.
Yeah, it's going to go over into the bot lane, and that's going to be an interesting matchup in itself. I haven't really seen Value too much on this Tristana, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm really interested to see how he's going to get paired up against the likes of Gorica on his Jinx.
Yeah, and I think this is a little bit of a change from Norg, right? We came in setting up the top lane dominance, right? The gold differential at 15. Norg's gold differential at 15 is usually 2,500 gold on blue side, right? And that often comes from their top lane setups. But this Seraphine mid, the Tristana bot, I think this kind of shows that Norg maybe playing a little bit more into what Barrage usually likes to do, which is team fighting in the mid game, having that Seraphine as the stabilization point in the mid lane. If you're able to use those really powerful team fights, might be a nice way that Norg can bridge that instead of giving Tristana, that solo gold XP to try and really use the early power to continue to snowball the early game. So a little bit of adaptation coming out from Norg. I must say I was expecting that to be flip-flop, just knowing that Value is undefeated on the Seraphine so far. But I like the change and curious to see how it pans out for Norg and also Barrage as we're about to get into the first game here, XT, between the two titans of Amateur. No team has been able to take Norg to 5 games in a best of 5 besides Barrage Esports. We don't have a best of 5. We have a best of 3, but we're going to have to see who can come out on top when we load in this one.
Yep, we're just about to load into the Rift, and we're going to have to see if Norg's composition is going to help, mitigate a little bit of that team fighting and see if they can stack up against the likes of Barrage. We have challenged them before, although best of 5s have been their specialty. Best of 3s, no Orgs have been coming on top. And look at this, they're going ahead and invading already over on the top side here. And they're going to be able to get some knowledge and vision here on where exactly Fnatic is going to be starting.
Yeah, some early wards being dropped. And this is something where we talk so much about Viper and Anda, the top side setups, right, between these two. This Renekton Lilia combo is something that can give Anda a little bit of that priority. And a lot of times, Lilia, one of the more creative things you can do on this champion, it is those level 1 starts, right? The fact that you can go Raptors to Raptors, Raptors to enemy Wolves. Trying to do a lot of creative things with how quickly Lilia clears early. I'm curious to kind of keep our eyes onto Anda and see if he goes for any of those setups, if he goes for something like Raptors Wolves. And I like the prep that Barrage has. You can see they've already warded both jungle entrances around the mid lane. So they understand that this is a possibility from Norg. They're trying their best to deny it, or at least get the information if it does take place. And Anda going to start on that red buff. So going to have both junglers starting on their red buffs, going from bot to top on the blue side, from top to bot on the red side, as we're getting into game 1 here, XT.
Yeah, it's probably going to be looking like a classic full clear to jungle, get the scuttles, and then be able to get that early back here. And it's been a trend we've been seeing so far in 11.6, nothing really too crazy. The only thing really out of the ordinary is, again, that mid lane matchup against Ziggs and Seraphine. And both these, both these mid laners both taking Unsealed Spellbook, which is kind of a surprise to me. They're probably just going to be looking to kind of, farm it out, be able to support the teams in a, as much as they can with their amount of wave clear and whatnot. And something else to really note, we see Udyr's clear here. He's actually opted to skip Krugs for himself. He's just going to go straight into that bottom side scuttle.
That's a good catch. That's something that we're not used to seeing out of the Udyr. I think it's been pretty much full clears every game, but Fnatic has something else up his sleeve as he's getting over to the bot side quite early. Potentially looking for a 3-wave dive here as Barrage. They do have this stacked up and a cannon wave coming in. Are they going to be able to pull this off? I think that's the only reason that you would skip over those Krug camps. And it feels like Barrage has shoved this in a little quickly for Fnatic to get to this bot lane. And instead, just going to take the Gromp, go for the Crab setup, most likely is a little bit of an interesting path from Fnatic. I'm not sure about skipping the Krugs, where it feels like he would be over here with a full clear either way. And they weren't able to go for that top dive.
Yeah, and now look at this. He's going to be winning an extra 7 seconds, waiting for that Scuttle Crab. And even though he's chilling, even though he's having a great time, that is going to mean he is going to be 1 camp behind this Lilia. And even, he's going to be seen by that ward. That's going to probably give signal to Anda, he probably has a camp up. He's probably going to be able to visit that top side, and that's going to apply pressure to PCL over in the top lane. That could cause a little bit of issues for this Volibear. I don't exactly think he'll get dove on, but at the very least, he isn't really going to have too much of a fun time. There's Anda cleaning up what has been left behind of Fnatic, as Fnatic going to get that back, and he's making pings right now towards his camp.
Yeah, good start here for Anda, no-org jungler, someone who is actually teammates with Firefire. When Firefire subbed in for Evil Genius's Academy in the last year in the spring, Firefire and Anda were on that squad, and Anda has been such a stud in Amateur so far this year, and comes in as one of the top junglers in the tournament. I know that Contracts over at EG has been really having some pop-off games on the Nidalee, but Anda has been doing that throughout the entire season in Amateur. As is on the way of this game, a different AP champion. We're going to have to see if he can make the same impact that we were used to seeing out of this player. As Fnatic finds the Krugs being gone, going to be a little bit sad, but does get his second Raptors. As trades going across the map in a relatively quiet early game, XT, which historically has benefited Barrage.
Yeah. You know, no-org is a team that you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. As soon as you give them any semblance of a lead, they are able to kind of just run away with it. And we're kind of seeing that a little bit here based off the laning. A lot of that gold is coming off the top side of the map, as noted earlier. But also, you know, something you also know, you were speaking of experience in no-org. Barrage kind of have the same thing, right? PCL and Winter previously were both teammates on Optic Academy, and not to mention, Winter was a previous teammate of Firefire when they were on a roster together last year for the Scouting Ground circuit. So, you know, both these teams have a lot of history with each other, and, you know, even though we see the amateur scene as something that's developing and still continuing to have a lot of growth, these two teams itself, with all these players, have seen Amateur and Academy through and through. Not to mention, we have about 8 people who have previously been on Academy playing in this matchup today.
Yeah, the only ones not with Academy rosters have been Value, who played for Maryville, and he won a Collegiate World Championship, actually, against Gorica. And then APA, who's one of the best prospects that we have in the mid lane. So a pretty talent-stacked roster top to bottom between these two amateur teams. Is once again, a little bit of a quieter early game. Fnatic goes for his second reset. Will be going up towards those Krugs to get the second spawn on that. The initial one was taken away by Anda. And Anda's going to be wrapping up another full clear. And curious to see if we have either team try and go for a Dragon setup, as Tristana did base first on the Noon Quiver timer. And so there is a potential there that no-org could look for manipulate the wave state to get a favorable Dragon setup for them potentially. But that said, that Man-Bear Pig's pretty scary for the Lily in the early game, and Anda does have to cede that crab to Fnatic. So good pathing coming out from the jungler Barrage.
Yep, he is going to go ahead and take that scuttle for himself. Still going to be behind one camp, unfortunately, but it doesn't really matter. I don't think the gold lead is going to matter too much. Something, however, I will have to admit, I believe no-org right now have the teamfight advantage. As soon as they hit level 6, you have the Rel, you have the Seraphine for the Wombo combo. They're going to have a huge early game, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the early game objectives on the table do go on over to the side of no-org. Barrage's composition does need a lot of time to really build on up, especially when we want to see Gorica and APA being able to beat those teamfight carries. They have a lot of work for themselves to really do, but no-org right now, I think it's no surprise they should have a clear advantage heading in for like the next, 8 to 7 minutes.
Yeah, and I think that if we start to diagnose these team fights and how they're going to go, it's all about who gets that first reset, XT, right? Is it going to be Tristana with those rocket jumps, or is it going to be Gorica with getting excited on the Jinx? So I think that I like the beefiness that Barrage has to try and deny the resets and also secure them for Gorica on the Jinx. But I think that the big X factor is going to be the Wombo combo coming out from Big and Firefire. And I want to highlight Big on this rel. Once again, it's a role player, I like to say, on this matchup, right? If we think about the NBA teams, like everyone has some All-Stars. The All-Stars for no-org are definitely Viper and Anda. But they're surrounded by some damn good role players, and Big is one of them. And his rel in their first series against Golden Guardians Academy brought them back into Game 2 and might be looking for the first big play of the game as they're setting up in the bot lane of Barrage.
That's the flash, and Winter is going to try to get on out of it. Uses the ultimate, and Value gives him a little bit of help there with the explosive shot there. Crisis averted for Barrage, but I think they might lose the Dragon. Lilia is going to go on and back, so in fact, it's just going to be nothing. Just a couple of trades here and there, and that's going to be flash for the supports and also heal for Gorica. Yeah,
so Anda, it's a failed play. It's a nice dodge out on Barrage, but Anda has his entire top side up, and now Rift Herald's on the map. That's the bigger objective for no-org, right? We talked about how Viper with those early gold leads. This is what they love to play around. So Lilia going to keep up that tempo, get the fast recall, make sure that she's able to secure those topside camps, and actually is going to just be skipping over them, going for this Rift Herald. Little awkward as PCL does have priority in the top side, but a first roam here by Big, and a nice cancel from APA.
Great satchel there from APA, being able to get away from Big. So that's 2 times in a row now. The Rel has been essentially thwarted, but over on the other side, the next 4-legged creature on the Summoner's Rift is going to be that Lilia taking that Rift Herald for herself. And oh, look at this in the top lane, a trade between Viper and PCL, but isn't really going to lead to anything. Really, it's just Viper saying, stay away from my junglers here. We're just going to go ahead and get this Rift Herald for himself, but Fnatic has other plans. He's right now making a charge to this Rift Herald. Does it go over to Barrage? Yes, it does. They're going to be able to get it, but at what cost? Ultimates are going to be popped by 1. Viper right now going in, and now Lilia will be able to get the ultimate along with Seraphine. That's first blood going off the Barrage and PCL. Maybe the next one down has to use... No! The snipe! Where did it come from? Coming down from the bottom lane, and the first 1-for-1 trade kill there. Gorica will pick up Viper from out of nowhere.
We were talking about the NBA, and Gorica says, I'm just going to shoot my 3-pointer. Lands it from all the way down in the bot lane, but overall, I know that Fnatic does go down, but denying that Rift Herald actually steals so much tempo away from Noorg, as we are going to get a replay. The eye, it swaps, right? Fnatic's able to land the auto and the smite, secure. Shelly goes down for that cost, but then Gorica, seeing the play, just fires off the Hail Mary, and it manages to connect onto Viper as a 1-for-1 trade, some early gold over to the Jinx. We're going to have to see now, how does Barrage use the gold of the Rift Herald? Where is that going to be dropped to secure even more gold for their team? Because that does take a lot of tempo away from Noorg. There was a lot of time invested there from Anda to take that Rift. Anda skipped all of his topside camps to make sure that he had the timer to go for it. That being denied by Fnatic and Barrage. A pretty big deal as this game goes on, and could secure the first tower of the game for Barrage if they use this Rift Herald properly.
Yep, and also, it's too much of a good thing we just saw, right? 3 ultimates popped for that Rift Herald. Maybe we could be seeing a Dragon take here of Barrage if they want to. The Seraphine and Lilia all both down, both long cooldowns, so they aren't going to have that in the next engagement. Look at this, we see Udyr right now over on the bottom side is APA trading with Firefire. Nothing really too much is going to really come from Firefire and APA. No, the ultimate! He uses the satchel to toss it back. The flash here from Firefire! It's going to allow him to get into
flash
here, but now here's Fnatic. He does have flash. No flash on Firefire. He's gone! That's the Phoenix stance to take him down, and the Dragon will also go down for Barrage. And this game, I feel like, is already delivering a great 1v1 between APA and Firefire.
Yeah, and Firefire, he was trying to trade heavily there when his jungler was on reset. Anda was basing, and the jungler of Barrage, the exact opposite, right? He was starting to set up the tent in the mid lane. He had the grams, he had the Hershey's Kisses, he had the marshmallows, and all he needed was a campfire, and that's going to be the fire that sends Firefire to the death chamber as they get that kill, and they secure the Dragon on the back half of that as well, XT. So Barrage, we talked about the power of the early game from Noorg, their top lane setups. It's been denied by Barrage this game, and now we go into the later part of the mid-game where we've talked about and emphasized how good Barrage's team fighting is. While Noorg, they definitely have the tools to answer it in this game. The burden of execution for both these teams, it's just going to be whoever can team fight better. Historically, that has been Barrage.
A great example there of Barrage playing with the timer, so you know, again, 3 major cooldowns down, let's go for a play, and APA doing just that. But now, look at this, Lilia, Seraphine, Renekton, all their ults are back up. This is now Noorg's time to control the map, get Temple, because now they have the team fight advantage because of all their ults being available. But Value, all by lonesome, Grell, not going to be there to help him out. He is going to get denied some anyways here, but Big now, maybe in a little bit of trouble. There is the Bear slap coming in with the Chem Tank for himself. Big maybe in a lot of trouble. Does have the flash. Gorica with the ultimate is going to chunk up the half health, but there's nothing on the map to play for unless they want to get this Rift Herald maybe onto the mid or bot lane. But regardless, Big is just going to be able to walk out of there. Although Winter maybe going in, doesn't really have anyone to go in. Going for the solo kill. APA with the ultimate will not secure the kill onto Big, nor will he get any summon for him, but Flash will be popped. And there is that Rift Herald going to be going for the bottom lane, getting gold onto Gorica, who has been the player for Barrage.
And that is the first turret of the game secured for Gorica on Barrage. And you mentioned Gorica, right, coming off his stint at Golden Guardians Academy. Has been such a powerful AD carry throughout Amateur.
Wow.
Really one that Not many AD carries in Amateur have been able to deal with Value, a player very talented in his own right, while he's oftentimes on weak side and being more of that role player, has been able to deal with Gorka. The fact that Gorka has been given this early lead off of that first kill, from the downtown snipe, and now the first turret of the game, already at that Kraken Slayer, this makes things really tough for Noorg for the next few minutes to be able to contest this next dragon, as I think Barrage, they're really starting to set their sights on that second dragon to see if they can maybe secure the 4-dragon win condition on their team, as Gorka now walks into the top lane with a big gold lead on his own shoulders and a 1k gold lead for Barrage at the 14-minute mark as plates fall.
However, though, we do see 3 people on the top side of the map maybe looking for an alcove play. Turret planes are finally down, and the one of the notable things, right, Gorka, 5 planings under his name. You talked about it already. He is going to be a huge player here, but Gorka now probably the first target here. 4 people in the top lane. It's only a matter of time. Gorka, you might be in trouble, buddy, but Winter is going to go ahead and face check for him, and now Gorka now maybe a little bit of trouble. There's the strike breaker, only slows him, but Gorka and Winter will get on out of there, and the rest of Noorg, they're just going to walk away. Their plans have been foiled.
Yeah, they didn't have vision of Fnatic, and they were a little bit timid on the play that if Fnatic was there, it might have been able to get turned. They weren't able to find Gork on the pick. Instead, Winter's the one that ends up face-checking the brush, as he should be. He ends up surviving. They stay alive in the top side. And PCL, because of that, able to crash wave into the bot side, might be able to deny a minion or 2 away from Viper, who...
just one.
Yeah, just one. We take those, it's the little things sometimes, XT.
It is definitely the little things that do count. I also do want to know, I didn't expect the Rift Herald to also get a huge knock onto that turret, but unfortunately the eye closed at the worst possible time, and Value wasn't really able to stop that, so that's why the bottom turret is at half HP at the moment. However, I do want to keep our eyes on Firefire. He's getting the blue right now, but he does have that Moonstone up. He is going to be building towards that Staff of Flowing Water, and he is going to be kind of like what Karma was when APA was able to play it a couple times, right? That supportive mid laner does a little bit of damage here, but mainly known for her superior capabilities for all utility and ground control she's able to provide in a fight. So Firefire, we really got to keep our eyes on how he's able to perform these fights. But speaking of which, Rift Road right now is going to get started up by I was about to say burgers.
You're about to say the Burger Boys?
Barrage, the Burger Boys, but they are going to go ahead and take this Rift Herald for themselves. And now maybe look at go down mid here, but might have a fight. No, it's going to be a pick instead. Firefire is going to be forced to flash away, and Rift Herald will get popped down the mid lane. But now let's get this. Rest of Noorg looking to respond big, maybe looking for a way to get in, but that is going to be Rift Herald crashing into the mid tower, and the rest of Barrage are more than happy to give that away. But now they lose positioning over Dragon.
Yeah, positioning and ults, right? They invested 2 ultimates to get Firefire's flash there. Overall, could be worth in the long run, but not worth in the short run, as this is going to give Noorg complete control over the Dragon, and I think Barrage intelligently decides to step back, and it's actually a step that I'm happy to see out of Barrage, as they understand that Dragon's gone. This is in the past we would see Barrage flip this. That's why they have the nickname, right? The Burger Boys. They love to take fights. They love to take their flips. To be fair, it is their strength, but sometimes taking too many fights can be their Achilles heel. So I like the fact that we're seeing a little bit more discipline out of Barrage, this amateur team. Definitely an improvement from them, as they are still looking to take the cake in this entire tournament, right? And I guess take the double quarter pounder or the Oreo milkshake. I don't know. This is starting to become a little bit too deep into the Burger Boys, right? Cheese side up. That's the magic word.
I think another way to paint this is that, both these teams have kind of had a huge journey. Winter, are you Malphite, buddy? Did you just hop over the blast code to... Hello? That's a rare mistake there from Value, and he's just going to get taken down for nothing.
Value, usually a pillar of consistency on the side of Noorg, decides to blast cone into the river and meets an Alistar. Unfortunately, not able to turn that cow into a burger. It goes much the opposite, as a Yordle is taken down in the top side of the map. And that is a little bit more pressure, a little bit more tempo lost for the side of Noorg, as Gorka is going to polish off that turret in the top side. And XT, I must say, I've been very impressed with Barrage's play so far. It is controlled, it is measured. They have an early game lead against Noorg, the team that we're pitching that are the early game kings of amateur, and everything we've seen, every stat we have, every game we have on tape says just that for Noorg. But this blue side kingdom looking to be broken once again by the Burger Boys, the boys in blue on the red side of Barrage, as the battalion, they came out ready to fire.
Yeah, we also got to remind ourselves, game is nowhere close to over. Both these teams are still super close and still nobody's on a timer, right? Nobody is on a late game win condition because both these teams are, in reality, very similar to in their play style, in which they want to get that team fight. They want to get that big thing going. And neither team right now has really a significant amount of lead here. Fnatic, though, is going to go ahead and take the blue for himself, unless Honda has other plans. Is level down. And I go take it for himself, and really goes to show the growth that both these teams have really gone through, right? Neither of these teams exactly have the best start. Let's be real, right? Or didn't really exactly have the best showing when they debuted in Proving Grounds. But what followed after that? 3 back-to-back championship wins there.
Back-to-back.
Yeah,
they went full Michael Jordan while we're still talking about like the basketball references from earlier, right? The 3-peat.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Barrage, They had a good showing. They were the only amateur team to top 4 in all of the Tier 2s that led us to the Tier 1s where we could actually qualify for Proving Grounds, but they ran into a few mishaps, right? They dropped the initial best of 3 in UGP, which knocked you out of the entire tournament in the first round. Think of that what you will, but after that, they had internet issues in Giant Slayer, and they got DQ'd because of that, and so the fact that they are a 15 seed, this is why a lot of us were saying it's kind of a crime that they are a 15 seed, because this was the second or third best team that we saw in amateur. And between them, NoOrg, Zeus Gaming, and then unfortunately Solo Fide that were not able to compete in this, there were 4 teams that amateur had that were really coming out, pulling the punches. Fortunately, EGP also being there have proven that they need to be talked about as well, as they've been a part of amateur's great showing, and the fact that
right.
I believe amateur teams, the first week they had a 4-2 record, and this week, the fact that EGP is sitting at 2-0, and either Barrage and Org will be 2-0 as well. The dominance of amateur continues in this tournament, as those teams have been looking real good and showing they can take it to these academy rosters as well.
Yeah, EGP feeling livid after their win over Dignitas Academy from yesterday. Whoever wins this match will go ahead and face them. So let's remind ourselves of what's on the line. But back to what's currently on our screens. We're just farming and farming and farming and farming and farming even more. So I hope you guys enjoy Farming Simulator here, because that's all you're going to be seeing for the next few minutes until this Dragons gets spawned, right? Yes. Ziggs, notoriously one of the best wave clears in the game, is going to just shut down any attempt to get that mid tower. But in the top side, right now, Viper is applying a lot of pressure here, has a significant CS lead over his opponents there. And we have to keep our eyes over on Viper, who has 1 target on his mind, or maybe even 2, Gorka or APA as the carries for Barrage. But this mid tower, I jinxed it. No APA, that's going to be the mid tower gone. I apologize.
Yeah, but APA, he does crash a full side, and Barrage, they are regrouping as Dragon is spawning here in 20 seconds. Both teams, I think this is going to be the first big fight we're going to see on our screens, XT. So I think it's really key. Let's look out for Anda and how he uses this flash sleep from Lilia. He is the main engage, the best part of main engage, then Firefire can follow up with that encore. And NoOrg, with that mid-turret take, they have really good control over the river, but we have a TP coming in deep from PCL. Let's see if this flank is exactly what Barrage needs to polish off the fight. Let's see what kind of angle PCL takes, as him and Winter are looking to get in position to attack the backline of NoOrg.
Yep, right now, Barrage looking for a way in. This Dragon is going to be looking really low. PCO now going to be going in. That's a lot of damage onto Anda. He isn't able to do anything just yet using the stopwatch, but now he goes into the backline, gets the ultimate off, and meanwhile, that's going to be a quick kill onto Anda, and the rest of NoOrg is on the run, and they get the Dragon themselves. Barrage now looking to
Big's cut off.
The
it's a
rest
5v3.
of NoOrg. They're looking to see if they're able to get the rest of it. Winter going in with a 3-man knockup, and Firefire's down. Value the next one to follow, and Fanatics on a killing spree. You saw on the screen right there, Barrage take another fight for themselves.
That was such a beautifully set up team fight from Barrage. The fact that PCL, they had 1 ward, they were able to sneak in deep. PCL, he got the TP, and now Big is most likely going to fall as Winter, unfortunately not able to get the cancel, but Fnatic, he's still going as Big is going to fall. Fnatic should be able to get out thanks to that turtle stance, thanks to that shield. And Barrage XT, with the setup, with the execution, they find the perfect flank onto NoOrg, and I honestly just cannot wait to get a second look. That is such a clean team fight from Barrage.
Yeah, look at this. Unfortunately, Anda just not able to do anything at the start of the fight, and only 1 ultimate there, hitting from Seraphine, and the rest of the fight is just history here, Cubby.
Yeah, and Anda, we talked about that initial engage because of the flank, because they didn't know that PCL was coming from that angle. They never pulled the trigger, right? It's Barrage going first, finding the squishies immediately, and then this re-engage from Winter. Oh my goodness, the headbutt into the wall, and then the pull flash to get the 3-man knockup. Winter's been a player, we talked about the fact that, Viper coming back down into amateur, playing 70-plus games, getting his confidence back is something that he has thought that's been so valuable for his play. But Winter, he's been around the scene for so long. He participated in the first scouting grounds, and this iteration of Winter might be the best play that we are seeing out of the support of Barrage. A lot of their good team fighting play comes off the fact that his engages are so good, and that re-engage in the bot side of the map shows the potential that this player has to just wreck house on the Alistar, his most played pick throughout amateur this year. As Barrage, after that fight XT, now have a 2K gold lead, they are up a dragon, and it feels like they have full control over the Rift.
Yep, but you have to keep in mind, No Org again is running a composition that can turn in a whim. Unfortunately, not exactly the best ultimates from both Anda and Firefire, but all it takes is one good Lilia ult, one good Seraphine ult, and the fight is over. And Value, along with Viper, can just take it over. But look at this, Baron just taking it out really, really fast. There's a teleport coming in from Viper, and now one-man sleep on the Gorka, but no follow-up here. And Gorka is just going to be fine here, and Big now going to be engaged. 3-man ultimate there from Big, and the rest of Barrage maybe in a little bit of trouble. And now, look at this, just like that, snap of the fingers, and the rest of No Orc are looking to take over this fight and deny this Baron. While Viper going into the backfight, but AP gets a double kill before he goes down. 3 men left on Barrage. It's a 3v3. Who's going to come on top? Viper now going in. He is going to slay the Ziggs in front of him, and the rest of No Org are just like that. All it takes is one good play, and No Org are back on the table.
So the sleep, it landed on Gorka, and while they weren't able to follow up on it, it stops the DPS on the Baron, allows No Org to get in position for that fight, and that was the wombo combo from Big and Firefire as the Encore hit 3 members following up Big's engage, but Barrage, they don't want to give this one over for free. Value
going in. Oh, knocks away!
Oh no, it goes down!
Tristana, unfortunately, now Gorka has to excite, and I just fumbled my words right there. I couldn't even talk about that because Value, again, uncharacteristic, maybe a little bit too trigger happy. They don't get the Baron, and Gorka gets killed from that.
Value, the second instance where he just goes a little bit too far, right? You have the Moonstone on the Seraphine, as we are going to get a look at that initial engage again. Watch Big, he finds 3, and it's an initial encore from Firefire actually that finds 3, but Big's able to follow up on that perfectly, as from now it's just a front to back. Barrage is out of position, they're already chunked out from the Baron from the fact that Gorka had to eat the sleep. Gorka, the fact that he lives here, so important, right? Because he goes back and heals off these Krugs and is able to get back into the fight and punish Value for overextending, trying to get the kill. I appreciate the fact that Value, he was looking for the execute with the bomb plus the buster shot from Tristana, but just wasn't able to find it, get stunned up from PCL. And now, with Dragon being a minute until spawn, Barrage, they have really good setup and control over this bot side. And Fnatic and Winter are looking for a pick, but nowhere, they are not going to fall for it.
Again,
river control, it's all Barrage.
Yeah, I have to reiterate, again, No Orc are running composition where just like that, all it takes is one good fight, and they're back in. They're never out of it because of the Seraphine and Lilia they have right now. And now, looks like Barrage maybe in the opposite side as Fnatic trying to go in. That's going to be one man ultimate on the APA. He's going to be in a lot of trouble. And the sleep, he's going to get taken down soon. No, lives on a super HP. Now he's going to be gone. And this is looking bad for Barrage. They get a little bit too overeager. Fnatic has to flash out. Winter's going to be alive for not long. And now PCL next to fall will take one down with him until he's gone. And that's Barrage getting 2 overzealous there. Fnatic leaving his team behind, and APA gets caught. That's a choke point you never want to be in, and No Org are going to take this Dragon and this Baron.
The third Dragon, we talked about the flank from PCL. This Dragon, it's all about the flank coming out from the top laner of No Org in Viper. Because of that, and because of the ultimate from Firefire, which he invested his flash to use on the flashless APA, they immediately take down the Ziggs. They take down the keys that Barrage can use to peel for Gorka, and they wipe the fight. As watch this ultimate from Firefire.
Oh, man.
It lands on both of the carries for the side of Barrage and followed up upon so beautifully by Big. And from that, instantly, just the snap of his fingers, just as you mentioned, XT, Firefire ends the team fight before it even starts with that encore. And the rest of his team, all those backup dancers, they follow suit, as with that, No Org, they take control of the Ocean Dragon, they take the Baron, and the 3K gold lead that Barrage once held is now in the hands of No Org, as they have complete control of the map now.
just like that. All it takes is one great fight. We just saw 2 in a row from No Org. So again, you can never count this composition out. Really goes to show the power of both what Lilia and Seraphy can bring to any composition here. And sure, you know, the early game may have not been the best, but again, both these teams team fight heavy composition, but I think the easier to execute compositions on the side of No Org, because maybe they're looking for something here. Also note, Gorka tries to steal the Baron with his ultimate, but is unsuccessful here. So now we're seeing a Baron buff on the side of No Org, as looks like they're looking to set up another play. No Org, a team nefarious for just taking temple play after temple play, looking to just rush you down and never give you an opportunity to breathe. They're looking to do this to Barrage as they are looking to get this mid and bot tower.
And this is a good sign from No Org, right? Because coming into this, we were talking so much about their early game, about how, you know, we've seen them struggle in some mid-game team fights, and that is the big strength of Barrage. But No Org, I know they dropped the initial team fight around the Dragon, but these last 2 have been so clean out of the Kings of Amateur on the blue side. They look like at home, once again, in their kingdom. They're getting it done a little bit in a different way, but they still have managed to take a dominant lead in this game, XT. We had a rather back-and-forth game 1 for a best-of-3 that we expected to be very closely contested. Fortunately for Barrage, on their side, they have the wave clear from Ziggs and the range from Jinx, as they are going to force Big to dismount, to disengage. But still a nice 2-lane push coming out from No Org as they're starting to get some pressure on these inhibitor turrets.
Yep, right now Barrage are just going to do their best to clear as much as they can, and they aren't really going to rush anything again. They just need this Baron buff to run out, and they can't lose too much, but they are willing to give up a little bit, right? The game is not entirely over yet, but still, it's a lot of pressure, and you have to keep your eyes out on Viper right now. Highest level in the game, and, you know, 3 up on Gorka. That's going to be probably his #1 target, to make sure Gorka has no ways of getting any of that reset, as Smith Tower is good as gone. And the ultimate's not able to connect there. Viper tried to go in. APA will go down eventually. And No Org, even though they botched that ultimate a little bit, they're able to get a pick now. And the rest of No Org still in the base here, looking to see if they can get anything else. Maybe looking for this mid-hit, or maybe looking for the game.
A little bit greedy from APA to not flash the Lilia sweep there, as the Encore falls just short from Fire, but Viper able to flash over the wall, clean it up, and now with the Ziggs gone, that's all the wave clear XT, and No Org, they've taken 2 inhibs, but they want more. They are looking to at least show out these waves. I'm not sure if they can go for the game-ending play, because they are going to back off and find tempo across the map. They have a huge wave top they could capitalize on if they want to use that to take another turret, but their Baron buff has expired, and I'd say with 2 inhibitors being down, No Org very happy with the result they got out of that one.
I have some thumbs up being traded there. Viper just getting a goodbye, you know, fist bump there from Fnatic on the Udyr, and now 2 inhibitors down. That's going to allow opportunity for Barrage to get a lot of farm in their base, but it's looking kind of grim for Barrage, as right now No Org have complete control over this map. That's going to be Scuttle Crab going on over to Fnatic, and he's out of there. Run, stun, job done. That's the Udyr special, you know.
Viper and Fnatic both trading thumbs up, just because, you know, that's exactly what they're doing there, right? Both champions, they just run, dash on in, stun, press some other buttons, you know, that's all you got. But I think for the side of Barrage, getting back into this one, XT, they have to see this Dragon, right? And APA has just farmed up like 4 waves in the top side. They had a massive wave crashing as Winter.
Oh, looking for a pick. Value again, maybe caught out here. Has to flash away and use it to rocket jump to get on out of there. Looking kind of scary for the ADC of No Org, but he's just going to go on away and continue to live this happy life.
I still love that play from Barrage, though, because they're going to drop the Dragon, and they at least get a flash from Tristana in return as, Winter maybe caught. He has ult.
Big for the follow-up. There's the ultimate from Winter, but he should be able to walk out of there. That's going to be an inch there from the Tristana, but Winter will be forced to flash regardless of the lack of follow-up there. And both teams now trading blows of trying to find picks there, but overall, No Org with the advantage.
No Org able to get Winter's flash as well. The fact that Value doesn't have flash, a little bit of a more important cooldown to get out of the side of No Org. He still has that Buster Shot and Rocket Jump and all the safety that Tristana can bring you as you get into these later parts of the game. So Value's still going to have some safety, but that is now a target that Barrage can try and look for to engage upon. as with 2 inhibitors down, it's going to be pretty tricky for them to get out of the base. So when they are able to get out of the base, they have to find a play and find it fast. So at least they have somewhere to look with Value's flash being down, but NoOrg playing this one by the book. They have bot lane shoving out thanks to the super creeps due to the inhibitor being down. They're grouping up, shoving out mid, and now they've taken complete control over the top side of the jungle. Even going to deny the red buff, get that on the Value. And man, if we can get a vision toggle here from our observers, it's so dark for Barrage, and that flank ward that PCL had access to in the Dragon fight, he doesn't have, as they are looking at a very grim rift. The Nocturne has turned the lights off. There are no wards available, and NoOrg doing a good job of choking him out.
There is that one ward in the bottom right-hand corner, but I don't really know if that's going to be a saving grace there. I mean, it's the little things, Cubby. Remember, I'll take any vision I can get. PCL right now getting farm in the bottom lane, but here, Winter maybe going in onto Big. He's going to get chunked out, but you stubby get on out. Yeah,
APA committing the Mega Inferno Bomb there as well. Not able to connect, as Big was able to dismount. So big cooldown there lost for the side of Barrage. It is going to be up rather quickly now that APA does have access to level 16 and all of the abilities.
They don't know where they are.
Fnatic has face check. They're in trouble.
That's going to be a bush play, and Winter now going to be a lot of trouble. Has to pop the ultimate, but he's going to be going down. The rest of NoOrg now looking to see if they can get this Baron after they have accomplished their mission. Control the vision, and then take what they can there. Winter will be the victim of that, unfortunately. And now the rest of NoOrg positioning themselves, denying any vision coverage of this Baron pit. And eventually we will see. Yep, this Baron start up, but Barrage, they are not going down without a fight, it looks like. And you also got to keep in mind, Jinx with the ever so famous Rocket, Steel, Viper, and Firefire looking to play. The goalies here looking to defend what they can. There's the Rocket. No! Gets denied by Big. And again, one of the few teams that's able to stop the Jinx ult from getting anything. And now, look at this re-engage coming in from NoOrg. They're looking to see if they get PCL, but there is Zellia ult. This bear is going to fall asleep soon, and he is going to fall down in the rift here. But it's going to take so much. No, look at Gorgon. He's going to be looking at one damage to Big. He's by himself so far. Pops the cleanse there and is able to kite his way out. He is excited at the moment. Anda doesn't really have any ultimates right now, but the rest of NoOrg now looking to go back. Flash stun, but Winter's going to try to deny that. And now Gorgon, their saving grace, is going to be down for the count. NoOrg is going to be looking to get this game #1 in the books, and the rest of Barrage are going to be on the run. What a way to start up the series, Cubby.
We came into the series talking about how good Barrage's team fight is, and NoOrg in their kingdom say, all right, you know what? We're tired of that narrative being the story. We're going to just bring the team fight to you as, well, unfortunately, the inhibitor does respawn. We can talk about this one a little bit longer, but NoOrg, 35 minutes. They found themselves at quite the deficit to start off this game, XT, but they climbed their way back in through superior team fighting and managed to take game 1.
Yep, game #1 was looking a little bit shaky at first for NoOrg. Barrage being able to get a lot of, go for themselves, a lot of victories for themselves after punishing mistakes from NoOrg. But afterwards, I think NoOrg figured it out. We just need to make sure we time our ults better. They have a great ease of execution composition. It's super simple to get the Seraphine and Lilia out, even though, yes, giant deficit in the beginning in kills. They were relaxed, they were calm, and they were able to punish Barrage at the very end. And now they come out of this game #1 winners, and I'm not going to be too surprised if we do see a side swap.
Yeah, I mean, NoOrg, we talked about how dominant their blue side is. Now, 52 games on blue side out of the 71 games they've played so far, and over a 75% win rate for them. And now an 11-game win streak on that side. Pretty dominant. Right. And let's not forget that Barrage, they had a great chance to win that game, XT. It was just starting up that Baron, taking all that chip damage, and then not having the ability to find the flank on the carries. Just gave NoOrg the perfect opportunity to find that front-to-back fight where the Moonstone got all the healing down. There was a Baron debuff. There was some no health bars, and Value was able to get enough work done to really start propelling NoOrg forward and give them more of a foot to stand upon as they won team fight after that. And great play coming out of the Kings of Amateur, as now the Burger Boy is going to have to go back to the grill. Maybe change up the recipe a little bit more in this one. Maybe a side swap's good. Maybe get the cheese side up flip in the next game. We're going to have to see what Barrage can bring to the table to even the series back up in game 2.
NoOrg starting things off strong here for our final day here in week #2 of Proving Grounds, powered by Verizon. But folks, we are going to be taking a little bit of break. There's a lot to break down in that game, but we have a little bit of time to get ourselves a little bit of a breather, and we will be right back soon with some more action on Proving Grounds. Stay tuned, folks. Don't go anywhere.